Good afternoon. Welcome to today's workshop on behalf of Mayor Rahm Emanuel and Chief Procurement Officer Jamie Rhee. This is how to navigate the DPS website. This class is one of 18 different free workshops that the Department of Procurement Services teaches, just to let citizens and our vendor community know about what programs, initiatives, and resources we have for them. My name is Kathy Kwiatkowski. I am the Director of Public Affairs, and I'll be conducting today's workshop. Workshop PowerPoints can be found on our website at www.cityofchicago.org/DPS events. So if you are watching on YouTube, you can follow along with the workshop with the PowerPoint presentation at that website. Once again, it's www.cityofchicago.org/DPS events. Okay, let's go ahead and begin. The purpose of today's workshops, as I said, the title is How to Navigate the DPS Website. One of our top priorities at the Department of Procurement Services is just our commitment to transparency. There are, literally thousands of pages of information on the DPS website, and we're going to go through kind of just some tips and tricks, not even, just kind of showing you where some of that information is, because you can find out a ton of historical information as well as a lot of information about things that are coming up. So just a little bit about us. We are the contracting authority for the City of Chicago. We explore solutions for Chicago's diverse needs. And we also, in addition to being the contracting authority for the City of Chicago, we're also the certification arm. We certify minority, women, and disadvantaged businesses. So that's just a little bit about us. This workshop we're actually going to do live on the internet. So those of you following along on your PowerPoints, that's there for you to take notes. But I found that this workshop is best conducted if you are just literally going live on the website itself. So that's what we're going to be doing, but for those of you in class today, as well as following along at home on YouTube, you can just kind of follow along on the PowerPoint and take your notes. So, how we're going to do this class is we're going to basically, step by step go through the different components of the website and take you through what's there. Some of these things might be intuitive, but some of them are not. So we're just going to kind of go through the website step by step. The first thing we're going to do is take a tour of the homepage. So our homepage is www.cityofchicago.org/DPS, which stands for the Department of Procurement Services. And so just, kind of right at the top, we'll go from top to bottom. There's a number of things that you can find on the website. We have a section right here at the top. It's featured services and programs. So the first element is just what kind of procurement improvements have we done? Just a quick overview of the different kinds of incentives, as well as what we're doing in terms of training and outreach, how you can find out more, and just our commitment to transparency. So that is the first element there. The awarded contracts, we're going to do a deep dive into that later. So you're through this link, you're going to be able to find all of the awarded contracts that the Department of Procurement Services has administered for, I believe, literally decades. So we'll do a deep dive into how you can search for those, and that becomes really useful because you can see exactly who was awarded a contract, how much it was for, what the duration was, in literally what those line items were within that contract. The third item here is our buying plan. So what we have done at DPS is we want to put out a forecast. This is to help businesses plan. So there's probably been about 13 or 14 editions of this buying plan. So this comes out quarterly, but it does look out anywhere about 6 quarters ahead. We serve 27 different user departments. We buy everything from dog food for the canine units at the police department, all the way to building runways and everything in between. So the buying plan is really kind of your first look. If you have a business, Is the city buying what I am selling? Do they have a need for my good or service? So the buying plan, that link will always take you to the latest version of the buying plan. So, this one that's up is for the second quarter of 2016. We will soon be releasing the third quarter of 2016 buying plan. And something new with the buying plan is that not only does it cover City of Chicago departments, but we have also invited our sister agencies to participate, as well as the county and the state. So this is a really comprehensive, great resource for business. So you're not only seeing what my department is procuring, but you're seeing for 12 different entities, I believe, the Board of Elections, city colleges, Chicago Housing Authority, the Park District, schools, CTA, the Public Building Commission, the MPEA, so the pier, the McCormick Place Navy Pier, Cook County, the forest preserves, and the tollway. So you are able to, and I believe the state is joining us. So this buying plan is great because you can find links to all of those other procuring entities. So if we're not procuring in the next 6 quarters what your business is offering, then you certainly, we encourage you and want to have a really open, transparent place for you to find the links directly to their procurement sites so that you can kind of see what they're in the market for. And this gives you a forecast of what's happening. So these sections are organized by department, what kind of contract it is, the name of the solicitation so that you can be on the lookout for it, its value, how long the contract is estimated to be, when it's going to advertise. And also subcontracting opportunities. So if you're a certified firm, an MBE, WBE, or DBE, we also have funding source. So for those of you who are certified, your local certification is an MBE or a WBE. Your federal funding certification is that DBE certification. We put this column in so this is the best information that we have at the time. This is the kind of certification you're going to need. And these are the categories of certification that most probably the subcontracting opportunities will be in. Question,
please. I'm signed up for this already in our company. I get alerts, but is there a way to get alerts for things like this? For certain particular, you're looking for something specific or something. Is there a way to get alerts about contracts or about bids or about upcoming?
Sure.
So just the overall.
Sure. So the question that was posed from the audience was, and I'm repeating it for the purposes of YouTube. So the question is that our participant's firm is already signed up for alerts and receives global alerts. Is there ways to get something that's more specific? Is that inaccurate? Okay. So we actually have let's call it 3 tiers of communication. One is this buying plan, the forecast. Number 2, I'm presuming you're signed up for the DPS email alerts. That happens on a weekly basis where we say what's actual, what's live on the street. The third thing that we're doing that I encourage you to sign up for is we are actually on social media for the last year or so. So when something posts, we are on both Facebook and Twitter, and I'll identify those addresses in just a moment. So literally, when the day those advertise, we're posting about them with either direct link to the solicitation or to the bids page where you can get the solicitation documents. So at this time, that's the best way for you to kind of, be notified if you have alerts on your phone, or certainly check back our Facebook and Twitter feeds. So then you'll see what's there. So that's just a quick overview of the buying plan, and the latest version is always available. We're hoping to enhance this in the coming months to be put on the city's data portal. That way, we can do exactly as you're suggesting. Like when something becomes real, we can add to that data portal. You might be watching it in the buying plan, but if it's live on a data portal, we can add another column to be like, hey, here's the link to the solicitation document or any addendum. It still would be a place where you could go, like a one-stop location, versus getting emailed about it. Certainly, if you come in here to the bid and bond room and pick up a solicitation document and leave your business card or anything like that, you'll always get emailed if there's any addendums So that's just another method to keep on top of what's happening. So the fourth element is our directory. So for of our certified firms, our MWDBE firms. So we'll go a little bit deeper in this as well. And you can search and find certified firms by different categories, name, that sort of thing. So one thing I want to tell you about our website, and the website was formed. I mean, it's on a platform, so all 27 different user departments can use it. So it's in a kind of a common framework. So there's there's benefits there, but there's also some limitations. So the benefits are that everyone has like kind of a consistent look and a consistent format. Some of the limitations are it can actually be a little bit clunky, which is why we try to help folks find their way around. So what you'll find often on this site that is something that we can't do much about is there's lots of times where you have to show all, where things are collapsed. So like the information is there, but you literally have to click to find it. So this will happen in multiple places. So this is kind of the first instance where this comes up. So we'll be adding more featured services and programs buttons, but it's a little bit counterintuitive, but you've got to click to find them. So just to kind of round out what we have up here, DPS alerts. So as I mentioned, this is our at least weekly email newsletter where you find our bid opportunity list, what's real, what's live on the street. Also, we will email you any news and events that are happening or any kind of regulations or new programs and incentives that you should know about. The sixth thing here in our featured services and programs is our online auctions. So not everyone knows, but in addition to buying things, we're also selling things at the Department of Procurement Services. So we also generate revenue. We work with all of our user departments to identify if they have decommissioned items or vehicles or that sort of thing. So you can go onto that online auction link and then kind of see what the city has for sale. So there certainly are some good deals there. So you can definitely check that out. Any questions so far? Okay. Moving on down to the tour of our homepage. You'll see we always try to have our most recent news if new programs or incentives are in place. We put that information here. We also have this primary section of what we do, and we'll go into a deep dive there of some of those things. Supporting information, our city data portal, I believe I'd mentioned that, rules and regulations. Just kind of going through the left navigation, right navigation, you'll see that, as I'd mentioned, we've got direct links here on the left-hand side to our 3 social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And then we have some quick link buttons. Takes you directly to applying for certification, directly to this week's current bid opportunity list, and that listing, for those of you that don't know, is that is a listing of what has advertised or will advertise in that current week. So by clicking on that link, it always opens the most recent PDF. I know this is a little hard to see, but just it was the second button on the left. But you'll get a printable PDF that will hyperlink directly to the bids page. So it'll tell you, what date is the bid opening, what the spec number is. We'll be using this a little bit later in class to kind of look some things up. The name of the project, department, what kind of project it is, a little bit of a description if we have them. This sheet will also always have the pre-bid conference. So most of our solicitations do have a pre-bid conference. We definitely encourage all firms, especially our small minority and women-owned businesses, to attend the pre-bid conferences. I mean, this is the primary location where they can meet the prime contractors and get to know those and network to see who's actually planning on bidding on a project. So also on every weekly bid opportunity list, you will have a hyperlink to the contract administrator, so you can email them directly, particularly during the question period. as well as any notes about if there are additional addendums and where to find that kind of information. So that's always front and center right on our homepage. The bid tabulation, there's bid tabulations. Once a project is opened, we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth in a moment. You can see exactly who's bid on the project, at what price, ultimately be able to see their proposals, and we'll take a look at that in a second. The workshop button goes to our list of fine workshops and events. Also, you have like quick links for signing up for DPS alerts, enhanced like buying plan, icon, a link to our salvage auctions again, just because we wanted to add some additional links because sometimes they're hard to find because of this collapsing platform. And then our City of Chicago iSupplier. The city is moving towards an e-procurement solution. That's going to be a phased approach where all the bidding and solicitation documents and everything are going to be on an Oracle-based platform moving forward. So will be your link to get to that iSupplier portal, and that should be rolling out sometime later this year. On our right-hand column, we've got our live social media feeds, so you can see like what we've been posting about, which, as I mentioned, is primarily the daily advertisements of solicitations, as well as any other news or information you could use. So it's pretty easy to do, and we wanted to have a place that folks can go back and refer to the advertisements. Also, we have our multimedia gallery, which is any kind of segments or that have been done about us on our YouTube channel. So look for that to grow as well. And another set of quick links to our sister agencies and directly to their procurement pages. So if you're interested in doing business with one of the sister agencies, you can access those links from the PDF in the buying plan or from the related links on the right panel. Yes, sir.
You talked about the supplier, iSupplier.
Yes.
You said that's not up yet, but is that someplace where you would see, like, we're a registered DB, NMB, would a company like that be underneath the supplier? Would you be able to find what we look like? And someone else can see if they're looking for someone that does what we do?
Sure. So the question on the table was, what will you see when you access the iSupplier button when that becomes live?
Is that suppliers?
So,
DBs, NMBs,
sure. So, if you are a certified firm, you will be able to find information about your company at the MWDBE directory.
Oh, the directory, not the supplier.
Correct. The iSupplier, yes. So that's where we direct everyone to find our certified firms, and you can search by specialty. It'll list your NAICS codes, all those things. The iSupplier portal will be more for like vendors to go in when they want to bid via the e-procurement system, like when that launches. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive here into like the what we do section. Obviously what we do here, the primary thing that we do is procure goods and services for all the user departments. So we're going to kind of jump in to this second link here under what we do, contract administration, and kind of do, take a look at, some of the things that we had touched on just a little bit earlier. So, so by going to contract administration, we've got this services section, and so again, like just a word of caution or something to remember always about our website is you've always got to like click to view all. So, because there's always much more beneath the surface. So we're going to do a deep dive into a couple areas here under the contract administration section. So we're going to start with awarded contracts. So I'm going to click on that link there. I guess I might jump around a little bit here. I just want to show you also from the home page. I mean, that was this awarded contracts button right on the front. So, it technically lives under that contract administration section, but you can get to it directly from the awarded contracts button right on the home page. So when we're under awarded contracts, we just click Get Started Online, and I believe that there's all contracts from like back through like 1999. You can find them, but some of them aren't automated. So see down here at the bottom, there's some archived contracts by year and month. But most of a lot of this is funneled into a citywide. It's called the Citywide Vendor Contract and Payment Search page. So multiple agencies, as you can see, funnel into this page. And we want to just kind of go and see all the information that you can find here. So once we click through, we see what are the 10 most recent awards. We see what are the 10 most recent awards. But also right here on this has its own separate left navigation panel. So we're going to want to click on this one on the left called Contracts and Awards. So this is pretty useful if you want to look up historic contracts. So as you can see, there's lots of ways to search for contracts. You can search by vendor. If you know what the contract is specifically, that certainly is the easiest way to go. Excuse me. You can search by department name. Put in some search terms. You can also search by specification number. So as we know, anytime any solicitation gets advertised, it has a specification number assigned to it. You might have an older bid opportunity list, or you may have been watching a specification number for some time, and you want to say, hey, what happened to that? So if you have that spec number, you can put it in here and find what contracts were associated with that. You can search by, the dollar amount or when it was awarded. So just for the purposes of our, class here, we're going to search by vendor name. And so I just want to, give an example here to show you the kinds of things that you can see. So we're going to use Christy Weber. She is that is a landscaping firm around town. Hold on here. Does that say Christy? Maybe. Great. So if you know the name of the company you're looking for, you certainly can put their name in. You can see all the contracts that this firm has had, for quite some time. And then all of them, if there's there might be some reason something isn't up there, but most of these, as you can see, if we just open up even this first one, we'll have the entire contract online. So like I said, at the start of the class, there's literally thousands and thousands of pages of documentation. So when we open up this contract, it'll be the contract in its entirety is online. And this is, definitely useful to understand, what a city contract looks like. We also recommend the vendors that are new to trying to do work with government, to come take a look at the contract and, see, all the terms and conditions. Familiarize yourself with the kinds of information and disclosures that are going to be necessary for the contract. So, just taking a brief scroll, this contract will contain, all of the signature pages, the scope of what this project was about. It will ultimately contain all the line item pricing, so you can see, what ultimately the city is paying for this particular, line item if it's a low bid contract. You'll also see Schedule C's and D's. So you will see, who did this prime contractor choose to work with as subs, and what are they doing at what amount. There's I'm just kind of just scrolling through here, but there's a tremendous amount of information that you can find in every contract. Kind of just going back to our page here. And then another thing that will be connected to the contracts, that should be connected, is the economic disclosure statement. So each contract also has an economic disclosure statement. So this is where the contractor, is certifying that that there isn't a political affiliation, that there isn't any, they're about their ownership information. So just the full disclosure statement is also contained within this section of the website. Let's see here. I also have, on my cheat sheet here, I have another number on the PowerPoint. I believe this is a spec number. Let's see. So you can also search by spec number. Let's see if my notes were correct. Is that right?
That's on your paperwork.
It sure does. It sure does. I forget if that's a PO or I didn't complete my notes if it was a spec or a, so I mean certainly you can search by spec or PO number. So that must have been a spec number. So it's just my example that you can search by either, the vendor name or the spec number. The second section I wanted to cover under that contract administration services section is the bid tabulations. So this one's pretty neat because you want to, if you're a bidder, if you're a vendor and you were bidding, you want to see. And so you can go through the process if you're just looking for bid tabs, or again, from that, once you get to this citywide website, you can, you can check it out from the left navigation pane. So this is great because, the city puts out, what has everyone bid? And there's been a couple changes here in the last couple of years. So, certainly every time there's a bid, there's a formal bid opening here in our bid and bond room, room 103 of City Hall. And certainly anyone's free to come to that and listen to those. But, within 24 hours, we post the bid tabulation online. So the bid tabulation will tell you, hey, who bid on this solicitation? In the past, it also gave you what was the total bid amount. But we're going to go through some examples now. And not only now do you see what did somebody bid in total, but you can see what they bid line item by line item. And also, like, you can see who their subs are from this location. And as well as our newest enhancement is if not only is it a low bid, if it's a low price bid, but if it's an RFP, you'll be able to see their proposals. So we're going to go ahead and here, and I just grabbed, I have a couple examples from some specification numbers. So this, you would be following, what if you're a vendor, you would be following what solicitation you wanted to bid on from the bid opportunity list, or from the newspaper, or from what have you. So, if you wanted to see like who won or who was, who turned in a proposal for a project, you would put in the specification number right in that section, hit search, and then you could see for landscape services, and this is a good topic for us today, you can see all of the individuals who bid. Now when you click on the details section, you can see the documentation, the addenda that was there, and then you can see the who bid on which group at what pricing. So I believe. Sure, the question on the table was like, you can see all the pricing information, but can you say who was awarded the contract? So I'm going to take this specification number, 120164, and I'll kind of start, I'm going to start here from scratch. So the question was like, hey, we see what the prices were, can we see who was awarded? So we can go back to this awarded contracts, kind of get started online, go through this process, go under contracts and awards. Here's where we can search, by the spec number, 120164. Oh, for heaven's sake. If my computer would work, that'd be awesome. Oh, there we go. Hold up. 120. We have a wireless keyboard and mouse, so there could be a little bit of a delay. So 120164. Awesome. I'm going to hit search. And this actually, I believe this, so you can see here on the left-hand column the different contracts that resulted from this specification number, which is possible. It looked like when we looked at the bid tabs before, it looked like this solicitation had multiple zones or multiple sections or categories. So it is possible that there could be multiple contracts out of a single spec number. So, so yeah, here we can see that This spec number resulted in this contract to a Safe Haven Foundation, which was landscape services for Region 1. This was Region 2 and 6, the next one, Region 3 and 5. So landscape contracts are usually low bid. So they were, presumably it was a line item pricing, and it went to the company that had the lowest bid per each section. So that's how you find out who won. So kind of going back to our bid tabs page, you can see this first link is going to have, let's go back to our friend Christy Weber. So where we saw the total pricing, there should be a PDF connected to each of these that then has the global pricing, and then as you can see, it'll actually have line item pricing. I can't even imagine what it is for landscaping, whatever, this kind of trim hedge, hedge trimming or what have you. So there'll be actual line item pricing. So you can see line for line what each company bids. So if this is, the kind of line of work that your company is in, either if it's a work services type contract or a construction contract, you can kind of literally see, what happened. And, we do this so that we want everyone to know, like, why they won, and we want them to know why they lost, right? So you can, start by analyzing these documents, here first online, and then certainly you're always welcome to contact the procurement specialist, and schedule a bid debrief, that sort of a thing. Just by way of example, I'm going to go back, and that was a low bid. That was a low bid solicitation, but I believe this next example I have here, spec number 124716. 124716. Okay, this is an RFP. So again, this looks for like it was a request for capital plan program management services for the Office of the Facilities and Fleet Management. So we can see here like who had bid on this. When we click the details page, we are able to see very generally like how many boxes each company had. But then we can also kind of click and get additional details. So this is the newest transparency initiative where, it's somewhat easy if there's a low bid contract. I mean, low bid solicitations are determined by the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. It's price-based, but then also the responsibility, and then there's a review that happens to make sure the math is correct and those kinds of things. But RFPs are a little bit more complicated, certainly as evidenced by the time it's taking this proposal to load on our website. So, but our most recent transparency initiative is to, not only include low bid, like straight line item pricing, but to also put proposals online. So winning or losing, proposals are located online, and usually they do not take this long to load, but I'm determined to show you one here. So at the time of bid, all bidders are asked to include, provide how many ever copies of the proposal plus one redacted copy. So bidders, are allowed to redact trade secret or personal information, identifying information, that sort of a thing. I mean, it has to be legally justified, and they have to provide that justification. They can't hand in 10 regular CDs and one that's all blacked out. Like, that wouldn't be right. And if they do something like that, then they would be considered non-responsive and the proposal would be thrown out. So any redactions that are actually there have to be based in law. Our Wi-Fi seems to be kind of pokey here. Let's see if we can open up somebody else's. But this is, something that took a lot of time for our IT team to figure out how to get it going. All right, there we go. Don't make me a liar. So you can see, you can see everyone's, like I said, the proposals winning or losing. So, and again, this is so that we want our vendors to know, why they won, or let them know why they lost. Maybe their proposal didn't contain particular information, then another did. So just like with our other example, I can grab that spec number and see who won that contract. If it's still, it must be. And these are also another note here. These are only posted post-award. So, sometimes these RFPs take a long time to award. We see this one actually went to Arcadis by searching by spec number. So all of these proposals are available once that entire award process is completed. Questions about bid tabulations? Okay. Great. So another area I wanted to cover here again in this City of Chicago contracts and this common portal is this opportunity takeout list. So if your company is in the construction field and you are trying to look for another way to market yourself, a lot of stuff is available for download on our website. But if you are certainly in the construction arena, a lot of those documents or bid documents are too big to put on our website, for our website to handle. So you still have to come down here to the bid and bond room in room 103 and grab a CD. But when you do that, our team here makes sure to get your business card and information so they can follow up with you in case there are any addenda, that sort of thing. But if you're a small business, a minority women-owned firm, and you want to be a subcontractor, we talked about coming out to the pre-bid conferences. If you're interested in finding out who's taken out an opportunity, who's come down here to bid and bond, especially in construction, there's you can find that information out here. I'm going to put in another spec number. That spec number is 133665. Just by way of example, okay, I'm going to hit search. So, by doing this, you can see who has come down here, who is taking out this specification. So you could write to them directly and say, hey, I see you're interested in project XYZ. I'm a small business that does this, that, or the other. Would you, are you looking to partner? Are you looking for subs? Let me come in and, talk about my qualifications. So, and that spec number, like I mentioned earlier, is, readily available both from their website as well as on that bid opportunity list. So that's just another kind of neat thing. In the interest of time, I just wanted to explore a couple of these things. I mean, there's other things that you can find here, but there's just kind of the three things that we wanted to highlight during class. So I'm going to go back again to our homepage and what we do, contract administration, most importantly, and right here, this last link, bids, RFP, RFQ, RFI, small order. So that is actually our page where you can find everything that we have on the street that's on that bid opportunity list, which you can also see from these links. Stay tuned because our website is going to change a little bit to make this a little bit easier to find, because that's in my opinion too many clicks. So we're going to work on making that easier to find. But here, and there's a shorthand for this. If you type in cityofchicago.org /bids, B-I-D-S, then that will take you directly to this page. So I just want to make sure, I'd be remiss in not pointing this out. So that page will always point to what are the bids that are currently on the street now. We're just going to be making that easier to find, but I wanted to point that out to you now, during class. So let's see here. Going back to our homepage again, under what we do, we covered auctions a little bit, contract administration. We maintain a list of debarred firms. So, it's really important to us that everyone knows these are the firms we don't work with. So we have a listing here of them. All of our sister agencies check this list as well. This list will have firms that have something's happened or done something wrong for some reason. It'll say when they were debarred, what was the reason, why. We just kind of want everyone to understand that too. Right here on our front page, debarred firms and individuals. So it's It's a running list of, like, there could be a lifetime or a temporary debarment. I mean, if someone has committed MBE fraud or something like that, like, there's definitely a list of firms that the city does not work with, and that's right there. There's a link to, some of our programs and incentives, such as our diversity credit program or our small business programs. So there's overviews of each of those programs, as well as there's links to, like, rules and regulations about how each of these work. So there's a lot of good reading there. Events and outreach, that's my division. So like I mentioned, we teach 18 different workshops about procurement, certification, and compliance issues. We're also out in the community, like, quite a bit. So we do about over 100 different events a year. So I'll show you the calendar in a moment of where that is. Just a quick link to our MBE program, all the forms, everything you need there. We are working on a task force with our sister agencies, like how do we make things more streamlined for our vendor community to work with all of us. So everyone has different policies and procedures, like why is that? So within the last year, the mayor started a task force to kind of analyze these issues all across the board. So on the procurement reform task force, you can, read about, what it is, what that report was. We have to do quarterly status reports about our progress. Again, links to all the sisters. We're trying to get all the stuff in one place and be a leader in that initiative. There's lots of rules with procurement. So there's a quick link to all the different rules, specifically about those programs and incentives we talk about, the list of debarred firms. And then the last kind of piece here is this e-procurement, which is going to grow as the e-procurement program rolls out. So that's just a little, like, high-level overview of what's in the what we do section. I do want to take a quick focus on the MWDBE. So by clicking that link, this is where we advertise that if you are a certified firm. So one of the benefits of being certified, this is kind of your portal to be able to look at your application if you have to do a no change affidavit or do an expansion. It's called the Certification and Compliance System, the C2 system.
Is there information about, if you are one, is there information about a blurb about the company that's certified? Like you look up the company?
So the question is is there a blurb about the company? So what we do, and perhaps someone can give me an example of a firm that's certified by the City of Chicago or Cook County, because our database is actually married to the database at Cook County. So if you're certified with the city or the county, you will appear here in this directory. I'd love a name of a certified firm. High Tech. Can you spell that for me? H-I hyphen T-E-C. Oh, whoops. Hyphen T-E-C.
T-K, sorry.
T-E-K. Great. Okay. So let's see what we get. So then it will search for, you can search for lots of different things. Certainly if you know the name of the firm. But we'll go over how else you can search. So when you find the name of a firm that is certified, here we go, High Tech Environmental, is that right? So then if we find this High Tech, we can see some, ownership, address information, and we can see, what their certification status is. And then, most importantly, we can see what they are certified in. This is, I guess, what the database allows us to show in terms of these are the NAICS codes. That's the North American Industry Classification System. And so that'll show what that you're certified in. So certainly you can search by name. If you are, I should have taken down that NAICS code. Did you remember it by heart? So let's look up High Tech again. I'm sorry. Here we go. We got you. So that's great. So High Tech is the company example that we're working with. Thank you very much for an example for class. So let's see, we've got this NAICS code. Right, I'm going to write this down. 541, is that 380?
380.
Thank you very much. My eyes are failing me a little. So, if you know the name of the company, great. You can check out their certification status, and so a prime contractor looking for a sub can be like, hey, let me see if their certification is up to date. Let me, I'll reach out and use them. Or you can search by just a general business description, engineering, that sort of thing. But most often, a prime contractor is going to look up a certified firm by the commodity code or the NAICS code. So that is, as I mentioned, that North American Industry Classification System. So, we happen to know our code, so we can put it in, I believe, or, well, let's see, can we put it in? 541380. Very good. So when we put in 541380, we knew we were looking for some environmental services. Let's see here. Hold on one second.
You can make it larger.
I sure can. Well, it won't make the numbers larger, but yes, it will make the window larger. So, we were able to search by our NAICS code. I think I'm having some, does that make it larger? This mouse isn't. Right. So we can, there's the NAICS code that we could search by, or, even better is if we were looking for, if we wanted to find a particular industry, we could browse the codes. And you could go by, whether it's manufacturing or construction. And then what happens there is you're able to drill, excuse me, I hit the wrong button. You're able to drill down for a particular kind of construction, for example. There we go. Browse codes. So you can so if it's construction, for example, you can see of buildings, of heavy and civil engineering, specialty trade, and so you can continue to drill down and find, what codes that you're looking for, residential or non-residential, and then, ultimately you can add a code. Come on. Yes. So then when you're adding the code and you're looking for firms, and let's say if you needed just a WBE or an MB, depending, well, we can just search everybody. You can see what firms come back in this code.
You said it's connected to Cook County as well?
Correct.
How do you know if it's with Cook County?
Sure. So when you find a firm, you want to check out a firm, so you can click on the certification type, and so then under what you get back as a result is the contact information and the certifying agency. When the firm is certified by Cook County, it will say that they're certified by Cook County.
And Chicago, so this one had both, and it's involved?
It could, but it's been probably for the last 2 years. We have, we worked for a long time to have reciprocity with Cook County. Correct. So there was, or laws had to be changed so the standards were mirrored. So, we went through an informational campaign to our vendors to be like, hey, you don't have to be certified with both areas. Pick one agency, whoever's your favorite. We don't care. So do the city or the county. But we have the same standards. We accept each other's certifications, and now the IT is catching up as well, where our databases are married to each other. So there's a couple ways that you can search by name, type of industry, this kind of thing. So that certainly is one of the benefits of being certified. So again, kind of going back to our homepage, under the MWDBE program, just from that link generally, if you are a certified firm or interested in being a certified firm, you can find all the information about what the certification entails. Down here below under services, again, viewing all services, you find all of the different application information or supporting forms and documents that you need. That's all there, within that link. I want to be able to have some time for questions, so I'm going to I want to just go over really quickly kind of our area for like events and outreach. Again, I'm going back to the homepage and just kind of right here under the What We Do section, our events and outreach. So, what you're going to be able to find here is, we recently hosted a large vendor fair. As I mentioned, we do about 100 events a year between our workshops or being out in the communities. We host a couple of large-scale events. Our largest one is the vendor fair that happens in May or June at UIC Forum. This year we had over 100 exhibitors, and that's all of the government entities, all their buyers, like talking to vendors about what's coming out in the next year and a half, how you can do business, that sort of thing. So we've got like a little, we still have a link to that page where that's going to take you is like who was the exhibitor, take a look at the program. We've got all the websites for all of the different exhibitors that participated in that event. In addition, on this page, we've started a Google Calendar. So not only does this list the workshops, but this will also list the events that we're attending out in the community. So like today, in addition to doing today's workshop, we're also exhibiting at Access Chicago. Tomorrow we'll be doing a matchmaking session at the SBA. So this next week we'll be doing something with I believe CHA event. So if we're out in the community talking to folks, or if there's other events that our sister agencies are having or our assist agencies are having, we'll be putting it on this calendar as well to kind of create like a one-stop shop where you're like, oh, who's going to be where, doing what. So you can check our events and outreach page for that information. As we mentioned at the start of class, we've got a workshop schedule up here as well as there's detailed PowerPoints for each of the classes. So if for some reason you're not able to make a class, you can click on these links and get the PowerPoint like where that's available. And our most recent initiative is our social media. So we are trying to be pretty active on social media. It's pretty new for procurement. So we have, here we go. So we are maintaining a presence on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, just in terms of posting new bids, addenda, that kind of thing. Also on YouTube, as we mentioned at the start of class. So what we're doing on YouTube is any of our workshops are live streamed. So if you can't make it down to City Hall, you can watch them on YouTube. We certainly love to meet you and be able to answer your questions face to face. But if you can't, then you can watch them live, or we're putting them up after the class is over. Another thing we're doing on YouTube is those bid openings that we talked about, we covered in the bid tabulation sections, those actually happen live. So, if you really want to know, or your boss really wants to know, like who won that contract or what was the low price, you can literally watch it live on YouTube. So we've done a series of short informational videos. So the programs I talked about, the diversity credit or small business initiative, a mentorship program. So we've got short, like 4 to 5 minute tutorial videos also on the YouTube channel, just to kind of introduce to you, like, the concept of the bid incentives or the other things that we're doing, just to help educate and reach people in all different forms of media. Thank you for attending. Thank you for attending today's class. We will have time after class to kind of go over any other questions that you have, but we appreciate your time and hope that you found some information valuable from class today.